Hello everyone, my name is Rahul Diman and I'm an engineer turned filmmaker. In today's video, I just kind of want to chat about how I went from literally zero film experience to creating a film and TV production company. For those of you who don't know, I did not go to film school or have any kind of formal film or TV experience by any means. I actually went to engineering school. I graduated from UC Berkeley with a degree in chemical engineering in 2021, and I worked full time as an engineer until 2024. However, at some point in my engineering career, around 2020, 2021-ish, an old passion of mine as a kid kind of resurfaced as I was starting to get a little bit more self-aware in terms of what I really wanted out of life. And so, funnily enough, this kind of surfaced initially as a passion for acting, but eventually and very quickly actually turned into a passion for writing, directing, producing, filmmaking. This passion for entertainment in general really started when I was a kid. I actually grew up on watching Bollywood films ever since I was like 7 years old. I remember watching Om Shanti Om, I think it was in 2007, and I think that was when I was caught with the filmmaking, entertainment, acting bug. I was literally enamored by watching Shah Rukh Khan on the silver screen, and I felt like I was almost transported into a different universe, which, I mean, that is the point of films, right? So I very vividly remember that moment in the theater, and I think ever since then, I've been having dreams or like just images and visuals in the shower or wherever I am of stories playing in my head. And so I think I've had this passion for a really long time, but I just didn't admit it to myself till like a few years ago. Once I kind of came to this realization, I was initially very scared to actually start making moves and trying to pursue this to some degree, right? I was very, very knee deep into filmmaking. I had interned and researched at so many different labs on campus and worked in so many different companies at this point that making a pivot fully into acting or filmmaking or whatever it was felt very, very scary. Initially, I thought I was very, very passionate just about acting. And I do love acting, but I also do love filmmaking now. When I had the passion initially for acting, that led me to, why don't I just become an extra on a set? So I remember getting an agent one of the summers during summer break, and I was an extra on the set. And so I just saw around me a bunch of people working in creating a scene. I saw the director doing what he had to do. I saw the camera people doing what they had to do. I saw the gaffer setting up the lights, even though I didn't know what a gaffer was at that time. And I kind of just thought to myself, like, wow, this is really cool. But there was a part of me I was like, oh, this isn't that complicated either. And I think it was because I had a very, very technical background where literally everything I was learning was actually rocket science. And when looking at the film set, although it was very, very chaotic and obviously difficult to be a filmmaker, I understood everything that was kind of going on intuitively. There was somebody setting up the lights, there was somebody setting up the cameras, there was actors rehearsing their lines, and just being on set almost made whatever that experience was a little bit less foreign. And the more I went on set as an actor, the more I got to talk with directors, I got to talk with script supervisors and everyone who was kind of working on a film set, the more real and less kind of daunting each role became. Then as time went on, I started shadowing people as assistant directors, just being a PA on the set, and I just kept learning more and more and more. And so I guess what my point here is if you're at a point where you're watching films and watching stories and you're like maybe looking at a scene that was beautifully done and you're like, I could have done that, or maybe I could have done this better, you should probably follow your instinct, because there is a reason that your mind is thinking that way. Not everyone thinks in that manner when they're watching stuff. So if you're watching any type of storytelling, a YouTube video, a movie, a TV show, and your gears are just naturally turning, you might have a natural inclination to being a filmmaker. It might not be, but it's definitely something worth pursuing. And so, my advice to kind of go from zero all the way to maybe starting your own production company or becoming a director or whatever it is to find a way to just get on set. Because my opinion is that you learn the most by doing, especially in the film industry. You learn the most by connecting with people, asking them about their experiences, and seeing how a set is actually run. What a good set is, what a bad set is. you won't be able to know until you've been on maybe 10, 20, 30, 100 different sets. And you kind of learn, okay, I like this director's filming style. I like how this scene was lit. You eventually create connections of whatever city you are in, LA, New York, Chicago, Mumbai, whatever it is. And over a year or two, you'll kind of actually create your own production company in a way. You just might not have the actual LLC, but you'll know a director of photography and a gaffer and a PA that you really like. And in this meantime, maybe these couple of years, you were maybe writing a little short film script. And so then this idea comes like, okay, I've seen my friend create a short film. I've seen this other guy do it. The concept of creating something becomes much more tangible and reachable for you. And one day when you kind of admit to yourself, okay, I want to create my own film, you'll realize that, in order to do this, I should probably create my own production company. And then it all really circles and comes together. And this idea of creating a production company from somebody who had zero experience maybe a year or two ago just happened so naturally. And that's kind of how it happened for me, right? Like 2020, 2021, I was just an extra as an actor on film sets. And then in 2023, I just created my own production company. I did my first short film. Now I have a couple of short films, trying to do a feature film and all these kinds of things. But this would not have happened by just me reading books about filmmaking or anything like that. That would not have given me the confidence to actually start a production company and have a team to confidently create the story. If there's really anything I want to hammer home with this video, is that you don't really need any permission to start. You just need to build your experience however you can. And for me, it was through acting, and I thought that was a really fun way, honestly, to get a lot of experience on set. Because, yeah, for those of you who know, if you're an actor on set, you get treated like royalty. You get to eat really nice food. You get to eat first. It's really fun to act, in my opinion, as well. But if you're not really much of an actor, you can be a script supervisor, a PA. There's a lot of different options in the film industry to just kind of get on set, assuming that you are in a pretty decent city where you can connect with people. So yeah, that was kind of my experience of going from having no film experience as an engineer to having and running my own film and TV production company. If you want to hear more content about how I did this from a more technical landscape, how I created these short films from the writing process all the way to filming and post-production, definitely subscribe, and I'll talk a little bit more about those in some future videos.